Okay, I think we're going live now. Good afternoon. Running a little behind here. Sorry about that. Let's see if we got to work on the sunshine again. We got that sunshine there. Okay. Oof, it's kind of tough. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cheryl Hemsoth, relationship coach, and today, running a little bit behind. I don't know how you all are coping with this pandemic, but right now I'm in the middle of adjusting to the kids being off of school again. Yesterday I was running around taking them to lunch and this and that, and I misplaced my car keys. And my car keys also have my office keys on there. And I spent all day looking. I even looked through the trash trying to find my keys. I was working in autopilot, and sure enough, when I went to put the pizza peel away last night, there they were, hanging on this hook in our pantry. Did that in autopilot. They never have been there before. They're not supposed to go there. That's where they were. What a relief, right? But this is all about adjusting to change. Yes, adjusting to change again. So today our topic is healing from affairs. And the reason why I chose this topic is because a lot of you out there have been indicating that this is an issue for you and your spouse, whether you're married or you're in a long-term serious relationship. And there are 3 basic stages that couples need to go through. And there are some myths out there. One of the myths is that just move on. It's over. The past is the past. It's done. Let's move on from there without doing the healing and atonement needed for resolution and to rebuild trust in the relationship. So what are those key steps? Before we get in there into the key steps for healing from an affair is, first of all, the first step also is to figuring out why in the world did this happen. And a lot of couples I see, it appears to have come out of nowhere, but that's not the case. If you look over time, there have been little things that have been building and building, which actually created what's called like a breeding ground for an affair to occur. So that's what we need to address in therapy. In coaching is making that relationship so strong that nobody's going to get in the middle of it. If the relationship was strong to begin with, that wouldn't happen. No one would be able to get in there. And a lot of you who have been betrayed tend to focus on the other person and blaming whoever it was that was the homewrecker or whatever. But that's where, being in treatment, it takes you to really do some deep soul searching and figure out your end of it. This has been said before by other people. I'll say it again, that you are 50% responsible for 100% of your half of the relationship. The other half's on them. Now, there is a lot of layers. So you can do this kind of work, but it is strongly, highly recommended. I can't emphasize enough the importance of having someone guide you through as a couple over the long haul. Doing this kind of healing work usually takes a third person. And ignoring it, trying to get over it quickly, it's like, going in and having a surgeon look in your body and finding there's some malignant tumor and just stitching it up and send you on your way without treatment. So that's kind of like what happens when people have an affair and just want to get over it quickly. So that's why I encourage you to, if you don't get help through me, that you do seek help outside. If financial difficulties are a problem for you, there are community mental health centers that can at least give you some assistance with that. And they usually tend to take all insurances. So there is hope out there. The main step is the first. So let's get into the actual first step. So number 1, say you come to me, you're a couple, you've been struggling. One of you has learned that the other has had an affair. I've seen this over and over again. I've counseled thousands of couples, and a lot of times that's what brings them into the office, is that one of them has had an affair and the other one is shocked totally thrown off guard, blown out of the water. So the person who has been betrayed are going to be having symptoms like PTSD. And what is PTSD? Those are things that are out of the norm, kind of like if you were in a natural disaster, if you were in a house fire or a tornado, or if you were in the war. You've been through things that have put your body in this fight, flight, freeze mode. So if you've been betrayed, it is going to be normal for you to have all kinds of explosive emotions, self-doubts. Your antenna are literally going to be up. You're going to notice everything. You're going to be hyper vigilant. If your spouse is on the phone, automatically you're going to, oh my gosh, who's he talking to? This is all normal, totally normal. You're going to have anger, you're going to have hurt, all these feelings. There's no denying the feelings. They're going to happen. And it's a normal part of being human. And if your betrayer says, hey, you're overreacting, that person didn't mean anything to me. No, they need to understand, which is part of the first phase of therapy, is just education about how you're going through a normal emotional reaction to something that's very important to you. If you're able to just, look it over, oh yeah, okay, then probably the relationship isn't important to you. So that's one thing to point out, that yes, this relationship is very important to me. That's why I'm so affected by it. So, hi, Sammy. So that is the first step in terms of education, understanding where the betrayer is. Now, the betrayer, this is very difficult for a lot of people. And this is where usually the betrayed person is the one that drags the other into therapy. Not always. But there comes a point in time when that person is going to have to make a decision. And a decision means you cut off all other alternatives. So a lot of times when that person comes to therapy, they're not ready to let go of their mistress, or the person that they're having the affair with. They're not ready to let that person go. And I've counseled lots of people that has happened to. They're in this relationship with this other individual, and they're going through a grieving process also. So if you've been the victim of someone betraying you, you have to realize that if this wasn't just a one-night stand, a fling, if they've been in a relationship with this other person, they are going to go through grief and loss to end that relationship. So to be patient with them as well. This is hard work. This is not easy work. And it's important that you both feel supported. If you've been betrayed and you paint your spouse out to have, tails and a horn, horns and a tail, it's not going to help. So to be able to have empathy as well as compassion and patience to work through this difficult time. So that being said, that person who is having an affair is going to have to end it. And I mean a clean break. There can't be any more meeting. If, say, this is an example, I had a couple who met at the gym. So this man needed to switch. He needed to go somewhere else. He could not continue to go there and see her on a regular basis. I mean, that had to end, that had to change. There has to be change in order to show that the person that had the affair is going to commit to the relationship. And, if you're in a coaching program, my program lasts 6 weeks. 6 weeks. If you can commit to making a decision, I'm going to stop the affair, I'm going to work on my marriage for 6 weeks. That means you cut everything off that has to do with that other person, and you put your all into saving the marriage, into working on it. And then at the end of 6 weeks, you can reevaluate. Is this salvageable? Is this what I want to continue to do? That's all it is. When you commit to being in a coaching situation, a therapy coaching, you're just committing to doing the work. And if you follow the steps, you're going to come out the other side a lot clearer as to what you're going to come out with clarity. Both of you are going to have clarity. Because if you're doing all of the work on the marriage and the relationship and the other partner is not, that's an answer also for you to decide what is best for you. I'm all for saving marriages, but not in every case. And there are so many layers to this, so many layers as to why, what's going on. But that's the first step. That's all you have to do. Easier said than done, but commit to putting in the effort for at least 6 weeks. Meeting with someone once a week. And again, it's not about meeting and having a conversation and ending the session after about an hour, and then everything just gets dropped. If it's like that, then it's like we've had a conversation. It's with a bunch of great ideas and a bunch of motivation, but that's all it is, unless you're going to put action into what you're learning, putting action steps in. So that's the first step, part of the first step. There's many steps to each section, as I want to call it. The first step is atonement, which means that you are working on committing and working together. So here's the next part of this will be involved. If you're the betrayer, you have to be open to your spouse or partner, asking all kinds of questions about it so that they know that they get all of their questions answered. This means not the gory details, because we don't necessarily want that individual to have graphic images in their head that they're going to be able to go back to. That's not necessary, but just, how did it get started? Where did you meet? What mode of communication did you use? I've got a lot of couples that they do things like Snapchat. I've never been on Snapchat, but I've heard that, you can communicate that way and then it kind of goes away or something. So that was one mode. A lot of places get started in the workplace, the work environment. Now, if you're single and you're working and you hook up with someone, great, but then there are a lot of places where I think I did this last week. We talked about the workplace stress. And face it, there are some people out there, they do not care. They don't give a damn about status, age, anything. And they may try to entice you, right? So be prepared for that. But one of the steps about getting married is that you realize that and you make that commitment to each other that, people are going to be interested in my husband. People are going to be interested in me, but we are committed to each other and we're not going to let anybody take us down like that. That's just not going to happen. And if it starts, or if something's going on, we're going to communicate with each other and talk about our feelings and get through this together. A lot of times people avoid talking about the difficult subjects, thinking that's going to save their marriage or relationship, but it really comes back to bite them. It's important that you talk about these hard things. And so part of the whole treatment with this also is the communication piece. That's vital. Communication, validation, connection, feeling connected to each other. So if anybody has any questions out there, put it in the chat. If you want to learn more information about this, or if you and your spouse are going through something like this and want some coaching, please let me know. You can comment in the section below and I can get back with you on that. You can leave me your email or just send me a Facebook Messenger DM and we can talk about it further. You can also click on the button by my picture that says schedule a breakthrough call. You fill out some questions in there and we'll get on the phone and talk about if your situation is something that I can help with or not. See if we're a right fit. If so, yes, we'll get to work. I'm all about helping people that want to improve their relationships. So any questions out there for me, people? I'd love to answer. Yes. Okay. So anyway, so that's pretty much step one, but there's a lot of layers in step one. It's about learning how to communicate. I've got exercises that you do to help facilitate that process, and it takes a lot of practices. I can count so many couples that I've seen that get in front of me and they're just talking over each other, yelling, shouting. It's just, the communication is awful. So that part needs to get better as well. So step two then, once all that has healed, and that can take a long time. Just because you're in a program with me for 6 weeks doesn't, sometimes people can get through 6 weeks and they're still in the atonement phase, depending on where things are. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get past it if it was like a one-night fling where the person who had the affair doesn't really have a relationship. It was just more of a stupid mistake, or maybe they had too much to drink or things like that. It's so much easier. It's still, I'm not trying to minimize that. There's still work that needs to be done, but it's not quite as difficult as when someone has been in a long-term relationship with someone else outside of your primary relationship. So then we get into phase two, which is more about attunement. It's about preventing this from happening again. What was missing, or what is missing in your marriage that you are going outside of it to get those needs fulfilled? Everybody has universal needs, a need to connect, need to feel validated and loved and cared for deeply. And if you're not getting that from your primary relationship, chances are somebody comes along. You may not have been looking for it, but if your relationship is on shaky ground, zap, that can easily fall into, ooh, my computer is doing something weird here. Okay. Ooh, we got internet problems. Okay. To working on rebuilding. It's almost like building marriage number 2. It's turning the page to a new chapter in your marriage. It's almost like starting over, building it again, making sure there's a strong foundation so that nobody's going to shake it. Or it might get shaken, but it's not going to crumble down. So working on communication, listening to each other. Now there's a whole other component where we have, if anybody's suffering from other things that are contributing to the demise of the marriage, behavior problems, mental health issues. This is also where we need to figure out what's going on. I've treated several couples when somebody has bipolar disorder or post-traumatic stress from early childhood. These are things that interfere with the ability to be in an authentic relationship with someone, to be able to trust. So building that trust is important. Trust begins from day one, and it goes on through all 3 stages, as well as the other layers that we're going to add on top in terms of how to keep this from happening again. And, the attachment part, phase 3 is the best part, just because you're going to make sure that you're building rituals of connection and creating time together. You're putting your relationship as a priority. It's no longer taking the back burner anymore. It's up front, especially if you have a lot going on in your lives, to be able to put that forward as number 1 priority. It's like tending a garden. If you don't tend your garden, it's going to get infested with weeds. You're not going to have a very good crop. So tending on that, treating it like that every day, little things that help feed and grow and nurture your relationship. Getting those feelings now, and if you've been together in a marriage for over 20 years, anywhere from anywhere past 5 years, you're probably out of what they call the limerence phase, which is that initial heart pitter patters, falling in love. Nothing your partner can do is wrong. You just love to be around each other. You can't get enough of each other. That's the first phase. And that phase, face it does not last forever. It's not going to be quite as intense. I mean, if it did, we'd never get anything done. We'd always be focusing on our significant other like that. And a lot of people love that part of the relationship, and they think if that dies, then woo, the relationship is over, and they go and seek another person. So that's expectations also. After that phase kind of goes down a bit, commitment. That's what kicks in then, commitment into working on it, into making it and building your lives together. So again, there are 3 phases to doing this. And it's important. It's important that you have someone to hold you accountable, someone that will keep you motivated. It's so easy to drop the ball. And it's so easy for, anybody can make a change if they've got a gun to their head. Do this or I'm leaving, right? But then as soon as things start to relax again, that person isn't going to be as motivated. They're going to throw crumbs and to make you happy. And then things can revert back to where they were before. So it's important that over time, you create these new habits that are just as easy as not doing them. Right? I mean, every day we brush our teeth. If we counted, if taking care of our teeth meant going to the dentist twice a year, we'd all have terrible teeth, because brushing your teeth daily is what keeps you from getting into trouble with the dentist, right? So that's what these are the kind of skills you're going to learn, and they will last a lifetime. These skills, they don't teach you usually in school or anywhere. These are skills that you're going to learn. Even if your current relationship doesn't make it through this, these skills are invaluable. You're going to learn this to take to your next relationship, to be a stronger individual, to have the kind of relationship you desire. Everybody has a right to have an abundant, healthy life, to be loved. And there are people out there that tell me, they're just not into monogamy. Now, I'm sure there's usually lots of different reasons for that. If that individual believes that and wants to continue functioning like that, and you're not that, then acceptance that you may not be the right fit, and that's okay. Knowing when to let go and when to hang on. If you're doing putting in your all in your half of the relationship, but your partner is not, that is a sign. You've got to take that into consideration. Do you want that kind of a relationship? Wherever you are now, can you see yourself a year from now? If nothing changes, how do you think you're going to feel a year from now? Do you want things to get better? It's important that you do something about it. If you're miserable, divorce is extremely expensive. It's going to cost you way more than it is for coaching. And you're going to learn a lot more, a lot of valuable skills that can help you with your current relationship and can help you into the next. So with that, again, if you see up where I'm doing this, there is a picture of me, and there is a little black gray button. And if you push that button, you will get my calendar. I've got some openings on Thursdays and Fridays. Right now they're free. I don't know how long I can hold them for free. And I want to emphasize this also, that one session, one breakthrough call is not going to fix it. This is an investment in your relationship, in your time, in your life. One of the most important things an individual does is choose their partner, who they're going to marry. It is huge. I mean, it is something that will affect the rest of your life, no matter how it works out. So, would you rather spend a little less to work on the marriage, your skills, your self-worth, and being healthier as an individual and in a relationship, or pay for the divorce, which can be up to like $15,000 for each person. There's so many issues when it comes to divorce. There's custody issues and yeah, it can be a mess. So I encourage you, if you're at the stage where you're just ready to throw in the towel, give it a chance. 6 weeks, commit to 6 weeks, and then reevaluate. You're making a temporary agreement. Like, okay, I'm going to give it my all, 6 weeks, and see how we come out the other side. All right. Well, I hope that you all have a wonderful day. I don't see questions in the chat. Please post any comments you have, any feedback, any questions that you have. I really want to work with you to help you improve your situation, whatever it may be, to help your relationship stronger and to help you as an individual. These are skills, like I said, they will last you a lifetime. So, all right, with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay healthy, stay well, and I will talk to you all soon. I look forward to working with you. Mwah. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.